Oh, look at that. We're live. Twitter told me we're live. We made it. Happy Monday. I'm sure everyone's thrilled. It's a Monday. We're here. The Celtics have finally won again. Jack and I's men's league team won. And everybody's up early at 11 a.m. Technically, is it still 10 a.m. kind of because the clocks jumped ahead yesterday? What's the buffer on that?
Depends on how much you respect farmers.
Explain that. What do you mean?
That's the whole driving force behind this daylight savings time. It's all related to farming.
I thought it had to do with like kids getting the school bus.
Explain.
Like they don't have to go to the bus stop in the dark.
No.
I thought that was the whole point. Daylight saving is the dumbest thing ever.
Agreed. It's one that's forced upon everyone. So you can't be like, this is dumb, I don't acknowledge it. You have no choice.
I think lost an hour of my weekend.
I think you're both wrong. Daylight savings was first implemented in the U.S. with the Standard Time Act in 1918, a wartime measure for 7 months during World War I in the interest of adding more daylight hours to conserve energy resources.
So keep going.
So they were ahead of the Save the Planet.
There's got to be something about farming in there.
Farm. It's a common It's a common myth in the United States that daylight savings was implemented for the benefit of farmers. In reality, farmers have been one of the strongest lobbying groups against daylight savings. The factors that influence farming schedules, such as morning dew and dairy cattle's readiness to be milked, are ultimately dictated by the sun, so the clock change introduces unnecessary challenges.
Now I need Editor Jack to do the star thing because the more you know.
I think so, yes. I think they're getting rid of it. I think it's going away.
Love that.
I think this might have been the last
Joey spatulas.
I think this might have been the last one. Yes. What if we had a little daylight savings? I don't mind the jump back, the fall back, but the spring.
Yeah, you get an extra hour of sleep. Rules. They should just do that like one weekend. They're like, hey, instead of a leap year, like you just get an extra hour.
I'd be all for it.
I want to go to Alaska one time, like when they just have the 24 hours of just straight daylight. Like it never gets dark. That would be sick.
Just a huge party in Alaska?
I don't know if I would even party. I'd just be like, wow, this is like something else. It's 4 a.m. It's light out. How does Sam feel about Spider-Man losing in Best Animated Film of the Year, or is it justified? I mean, they put out half a movie. The movie ends and the story's not complete. I remember seeing it, and they give you plenty. Like, the movie's like 2.5 hours long. Like, it's not, you don't get gypped or anything. But I was sitting there, I was like, that's it? They got nothing else? So, I don't know. It was definitely a good movie. It didn't suck by any means, but it was weird that it felt like it was incomplete when I saw it and they still haven't put out the new one. It's supposed to be out by now. When I saw it, it was like release date March. Everyone had to strike.
Brutal. Equally as brutal. We can actually talk about what the people came here for. The Celtics won a game versus Suns the other night, but outside of that, their late game execution has been pretty questionable. Bobby, I guess we did chat after the Nuggets game, but one of the biggest topics in Celtics world lately has been their late game process, their offense, what they've been trying to do late in the game to get buckets, which isn't really working that well. What are some of your thoughts on how they've managed it? I mean, it's a lot of Jason Tatum, as we saw against the Suns. It was spread around the shots pretty well against the Nuggets, but I think a part of that was they shut down Jason Tatum intentionally. So just curious what you think so far. How do you think they can improve, and what do you think is going wrong?
Yeah, shout out Joe Mazzulla, because I have to get the post-game article up with here's what stood out to me during a particular matchup out before, as soon as the game ends pretty much. And so to me, one of the biggest takeaways from that matchup on Saturday was that it reinforced what their identity needs to be and that they stuck to it. And then afterwards, Joe Mazzulla comes to the podium and says, one of my favorite things about this game is that we were disciplined in sticking to the strategy and what we need to do to be successful on a night-to-night basis. So that was nice to hear. And to me, in regards to crunch time and what that means is that you can't do it for the entire, right? Clutch is defined as the final 5 minutes within 5 points or fewer. So there is going to be a point where what happens becomes you've got to run a little more isolation-oriented basketball. It doesn't have to be Tatum brings it up, does nothing, sidestep three, but it's not going to look the same as just a standard possession. With that said, for as much of crunch time as possible, I want team-oriented offense, and I want more activity, not 4 guys standing around watching Tatum, or 3 and one person sets a pick for him to do the same shot he would have taken in isolation. And so that one play in particular that stood out to everyone, where it's Jrue Holiday slips the screen, he gets it, sucks in the corner defender, and hits Al Horford for a 3. Run stuff like that as much as possible in the final 5 minutes of tight games. And if you're the Celtics, you'll be successful.
I'm still going to talk because it's part of my responsibility for the show. But Joey Spatula kind of nails it on the head. And I was going to go with this anyway, because Jack, we went back and we watched all of the Tatum misses, and it was a blast. Everybody's just hanging out watching. They're doing the same thing that you and I are doing in that situation. And I don't know if it's by design, but they need to have something else going on, like you said, Bobby, because if he's just standing there dribbling, it's going to look like a bad shot, and there's no option if there's a failsafe. I hated the shot that they got against the Warriors back in, December? I wanted to rip my hair out. But the fact of the matter is, the only other pass he could have made was Horford across the court, who was standing still. The defense just helped off of him. Nobody was doing anything to create any extra look, any extra work that they could have got, and it was just a lazy design. Like, they don't really do anything in crunch time to get themselves a look besides say, okay, Tatum, you draw the defense and then react to how they play you. If they're running offense and things like that, it's so much easier to make the right decision and get a shot that you're okay with. The good thing is, aggravating as it was to watch the ball hit the rim in Denver when Tatum got the look in the corner, at least you could come on here and be like, all right, well, they got a good look. He just missed it. That is the ideal takeaway in a clutch time miss, is you want to know that your team did everything they could to get the right shot. And the problem that I think a lot of people have with the Celtics this year is it doesn't feel like that very often. It feels like, oh, yep, okay, they just went to Tatum, they went to Brown, who also has missed a couple of these, and they just did their thing. They didn't do anything extra. The team was kind of lazy about it, and they stood around. So it's on everybody, even though Tatum's the one missing the shots. These other guys have to move in order for team basketball to happen. That has to happen off of the ball. So Bobby's right. Team basketball is the way to go in the clutch. Your team is just too good not to do that.
And the only reason they got that Tatum shot in the corner is because it was in transition. That wasn't a product of good offense. That was just they were running and the Nuggets weren't back in time. And so
it's true.
I don't like that. Celtics don't even deserve credit for that one.
It's like a half step in the right direction.
Well, they deserve credit for their defense, right? Great play by Jalen to take it from Jamal Murray.
But almost all of their buckets came in transition in this Nuggets game. That was one of the only reasons they were in it, which is good. Like, it's good that you have that in the back pocket to help you win these close games. And it shows that your defense is doing something, but it's not good when the half court offense is completely stagnant. I think it was better in the Suns game. I think Tatum did a better job of controlling the pace, and I think the Celtics did a better job of moving around him. I also think the Suns did a significantly worse job defending Tatum. So it's like a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, the Tatum did better, but also the Nuggets are a far better defensive team than the Suns are. So, I mean, we can look at Tatum's fourth quarter shots in this one. And this was also not I need to put it up on the screen. This was also not a 1-point game in the final seconds, which I think is a lot different. You see more off-ball movement. I mean, we're obviously not in crunch time yet. They're still up by 11, but I wrote about it for Celtics blog. Like, why does Derek White just get moved into like do nothing role in the last 5
Derek's dad was none too pleased.
Yeah, and he's right? Because like I looked at the Nuggets game, and the last 5 minutes of the Nuggets game, Derek White like was not in any action, not one. Like maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe 1 or 2, but like he was just an off-ball guy. They just relegated him to here, go stand in the corner and shoot the ball if it comes to you. Right? There was a bit more action from him in the Suns game and the Cavs game, which I looked at. Like he was in some of those. He was setting screens. He was getting the ball a little bit, but for the most part, it is Derek White's only time touching the ball in the last 5 minutes is if he's bringing it up the court in transition. And that seems like a waste of your most in control player. in the grand scheme of things. And if anything else, right? Like, because this isn't me saying take the ball out of Tatum and Brown's hands, right? Those two are going to get the ball. KP too. Like those three are your best scorers, objectively so. They're going to get the ball. They need the ball. But like, you also have an opportunity to use them as decoys because Derek White is like phenomenal at running the pick and roll. So if you just run a screen and roll with Jrue Holiday and one of those guys, or even Holiday, and put all of those guys off the ball so their defenders have to glue to them, like that seems like a pretty effective source of offense if it's run correctly. And here's another example of just Tatum, go do whatever you want, and it works because he's good, and that's what can happen sometimes. But I don't know. Derek White is the biggest one for me where it's like he needs to be more involved.
Yeah, I think it was NBA University. Forgive me if I have that wrong, but someone pointed out how Derek White's usage rate in the fourth quarter has been slipping lately. But Jack, you said it, we know how reliable he is, and that the Derek White Porzingis pick and roll in particular is one of the most reliable sources of offense in the NBA this season. So I'm curious to see what happens here moving forward, and if that is something that they talk about in team meetings. Is it not just the coaching staff, but the entire roster? If they get together and say, okay, we did a good job getting back to it being more team-oriented against Phoenix. And look, easier opponent, not as stressful of a game, but you still need those reps to get right. And that's part of the value of the regular season going into the playoffs. So I wonder if the next talking point, or one of them at least, is, hey, we need to make sure that Derek White is more involved here in the final frame.
Yeah, it's so odd that he's just not involved. Bobby mentioned how reliable he was. He's like the second most clutch guy in the team behind Porzingis. Like, and Porzingis is crazy clutch in terms of efficiency, but Derek White has made some huge shots, and he's made shots that he's had to create. Crazy fallaways. I think against the Raptors, he did it to him twice, where he just had to hit a step back to ice the game. He's somebody that can create for himself. Like, people don't really think of Derek White like that because he doesn't really have to do it for the Celtics, but he can run the pick and roll, like Bobby said. And if it comes down to it, he can also get a good shot for himself or somebody else, which is what you really need from a playmaker in the clutch. That's why Tatum consistently is in the position to do that, because he is the best at it. But when teams are overcommitting to him, it doesn't always go the Celtics' way. So if you have Derek White in there and he's getting Porzingis involved via pick and roll, that gives another option, and it puts more pressure on the defense. They have a decision to make. Do we want to overcommit to the action that's actually happening, or are we just going to commit to keeping Tatum or Brown out of the play? If you're an opposing head coach, I'd say you're better off trying to stop the pick and roll, because it is nasty. Like Bobby mentioned, I think that would be a very good thing to run late in the game because it's an effective action. Everybody does it. Denver was doing it kind of, where they just don't have an answer for it. If it's one of the things you can just hammer, there's no answer.
I think Michael makes a good point too. I don't think it's something that's going to keep happening, but like Derek White and Al Horford just not making their threes lately has also really hurt the offense a lot. Like, you need this entire Celtics offense is predicated on those guys hitting their shots, and neither of them have done that lately. Like, even Tatum.
Derek White make a three on Saturday?
No, I don't think so.
It's three straight games now. He is not.
Yeah,
he went 0 for 3 on Saturday.
Even Tatum in the Suns game picked it back up, and like he was struggling a little bit before that. But in their last 5 games, Derek White and Al Horford are shooting. Let me go to totals here. Over the last 5 games, those two are shooting 7 of 20 for Derek White, which is better, but probably that's including the other ones. 5 of 19 from Al Horford in the last 5 games. And if you whittle that down to the last 3 games, Derek White 0 of 9, Al Horford 2 of 12. It's just not going to win you many games. Like, those guys not making their shots is really, really bad for the Celtics offense. And it is just a slump, and you should be able to win without the 3 and all these things. But like, when your offense is drive and kick, somebody will make a shot because we have the most talented lineup in the league, and 2 of your guys are not doing that, it's going to hurt, inevitably so. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, and then the other point from Saturday that I'm sure stood out to everyone is how impactful their second unit was. They outscored him 27-16. Luke Kornet had arguably his best game of the season. It's right up there with his performance against the Raptors when he first came back from injury, and was just a force out there. And look, we talk about it all the time with Kornet. A lot of what he does is not sexy. You know, calling out a blitz in a situation where you normally wouldn't if you're the Celtics, and it leads to a Jrue Holiday block, that's not sexy on Kornet's part. The rejection is, but Luke Kornet's decision and intelligence there to adjust on the fly, not sexy. Setting a good screen isn't appealing. but he was excellent in this game, especially once Phoenix started playing up to touch on the picks. Now Derek White, orchestrating the pick and rolls often, is able to just work with him and consistently got Boston looks at the rim, whether they were layups or dunks. So Cornette was fantastic.
I mean, look at that footwork we just saw. That's McHale-like. The pump fake, step through, big boy dunk in the paint for Cornette. Not really dunking anywhere else, I guess. I didn't really need to add the paint. But his ability to be effective in very, very small spots where he doesn't need the ball very long make him such a great fit on this team. Like, think about how great Rob was when he was healthy. That's what you're getting from Cornette, but a very lesser version of that because he's not a freak athlete that can like hit his head on the top of the backboard. And he's a brilliant defensive player in terms of he's not a moron. He's in the right spots. He's patient. He doesn't really get in a lot of foul trouble. That's the value of Cornette, and he's a steady option for the rotation big man spot, which you had a zillion people crying about all season. They're like, they got Keita now. They don't need Cornette. Why is he still getting minutes? Oh, they just traded for Tillman. Rip Cornette. He's not going to get minutes. Well, I think Tillman is a better piece than Keita, and he's proven that he can give them valuable minutes. It's going to be a fit thing. It's going to be a matchup thing. And when you're matched up against bigger guys like a Nurkic, even though, when they played Denver, Cornette didn't get any run, I think that's just because Tillman has a bit of a track record of being able to defend Jokic a bit. He's going to be the one out there. Cornette, 7'2", tallest American-born player. Man is a beast in the smallest way, but he's a beast nonetheless.
Cornette's just always in the right spot, and that's all you really need from a guy in his rotation situation.
Funniest comment ever. Not that one.
This one?
That one.
I wish Caesar would trade for season. Yeah.
So he could sit on the bench injured?
Yeah.
He did come to a game, Oladipo. He was at TD Garden earlier.
Steven Adams out for the season, though, unfortunately. I love the username, though. Squillified is sick. Luke Cornette's great, and I really don't get people's obsession with hating him. It really does feel like he's the only player on the team that people just hate for no reason. Like, I can understand people being upset with some of Tatum's shot selection. I can understand Jaylen Brown's turnovers or whatever. Like, maybe not full on hate, but I can understand the criticism. Luke Cornette has had very few games where he was legitimately like really bad, like very few. And when they do happen, he gets pulled after 5 minutes. So like that absolutely didn't impact the outcome of the game. So I've never understood it. He's great. He plays his role well. He was awesome in that Suns game. He's a great positional defender. Joe Mazzulla, time and time again, has said he's the best defender we have in our system, which like if the coach is saying that about a guy's defensive IQ, that probably means something. That probably means he's a pretty good defender. So credit to Cornette. Pritchard and Hauser were also, Hauser was all right. He missed 2 shots, but he was still.
But he was good defensively.
Yeah, the bench unit was good in that game.
Excelled Saturday.
And that's what you need from those guys. I mean, they didn't really get a chance against the Nuggets because the bench unit didn't play a lot in Denver. So that was.
Yeah, I think Pritchard played about 10 minutes against Denver.
Mm-hmm. Squillified asked, do you think he'd mesh with the season? I think Steven Adams would fit anywhere. I just don't think that's what the C's needed this season because he's not going to play. Like they're looking to help for someone that can help them this year. So, I don't know. But I think the bench unit was good in Phoenix. I think they've been good all year. And I think all the people like saying that that's the Celtics' biggest problem. Obviously now it's all about the crunch time offense. But that was like the whole narrative the whole year. But
Porzingis on the bench, like Chuck said, fix the bench problems.
So the bench really Cornette.
It's been better than I think anybody thought it would be. That was the biggest surprise. I mean, to start the season, I wrote about it like 3 games in. They were not very good. They were missing like all the shots.
But they were defending very well.
Sure, yeah. And now they've started to make shots. Horford's been a bit cold. I just think he needs a day off. He'll probably get it, tomorrow? Because he wasn't on the injury report today. Unless they're just going to sit him both games, which I don't think they would.
Porzingis is already out. I think that Horford will play tonight, but not on Tuesday.
Yeah, he needs a breather. Poor guy's tired out there. But as for the rest, you've gotten more than you thought you would get out of Pritchard. You've gotten more than you thought you would get out of Hauser, who was in and out of the rotation last year and didn't play in the playoffs. Now he's playing good defense and shooting, 42+% from 3, and that might be selling him short. And Cornette has become a reliable third big guy that's smart on defense and doesn't commit dumb fouls. As your third big man off the bench, that's pretty good. Usually those guys are in the lower tier center spot because they aren't disciplined. So good for him.
I think the Celtics have always believed that Peyton Pritchard could play. He obviously didn't have a role when he was buried behind Smart, Brogdon, and White a year ago, and they didn't really want to use those 3-guard lineups, although they were productive in a small sample size. But then I think coming off of his stint with Team USA while he was on the select team, I think there was a lot of really encouraging developments that happened there, including for Pritchard's confidence, just going up against that competition and performing well. And so stemming from that, I would say the most important growth is the leap he's made orchestrating the pick and roll and facilitating and just being able to change pace, slow things down, keep his defender on his hip. And now all of a sudden you're seeing he's getting guys like Cornette lobs at the rim and easy buckets and doing a nice job of just being more patient in that regard. So he's not just someone who can bring the ball up and then hit a 3 off the catch or the dribble. He's giving you more than that.
Yeah. Credit the second unit. They've hit their shots, still playing defense. Also credit Jrue. Bobby put it on here. Joe Mazzulla after the game praising his emotional stability. I've had a lot. So I went on a podcast recently called the Simple Minds Sports Show. They're very funny. They just like talk shit. Or I have to edit it out, but they talk crap. They it's a specific brand of talk. What'd you say?
Said hashtag editor Jack.
I know, making the work for myself. But one of the points they put on their sheet, and I consider it my job to go and educate them, was we didn't end up talking about it, but it was like, does Jrue Holiday actually bring anything to this team? And I was just like,
exactly.
Hello? Like, what do you mean? Does he bring anything to this team? Not only does he run the entire defense, not only is he at the center of all of that, but he's also one of the best corner 3-point shooters ever. He also is fully willing to go from being an all-star to doing whatever the Celtics need. And I think Joe Mazzulla and all his teammates understand that. And so I think he deserves a ton of credit.
Yeah, and I think that Joe, when he talks about that emotional stability, that matters for this team, that you have someone out there who it doesn't matter how the game's going, at least externally, what he puts out there, even keel. Now you can barely see my hand there if you're watching, but just a steady hand is really nice to have on this team. Not someone who is a little bit shaky in terms of how they're handling the pressure. And so to have someone who's reliable, who's calm under pressure, who doesn't complain about his role. Jack, I almost just swore, but didn't want to give you any more edits to do. And so that ability to embrace, I mean, look, his approach against Kevin Durant said it all in terms of this conversation, where he's making him work for tough twos late in the shot clock throughout. And Durant is red hot and he's bringing the Suns back in the game. And then at the other end, Jrue Holiday, he comes up, there's one time where he was open, he didn't get the ball. And what does he do? He doesn't pout. He doesn't stand there. He comes up and he sets an effective screen for Jason Tatum. So his approach is really a blessing for this team.
I don't know if you guys heard all the noise when he was traded here, but I remember seeing a ton of stuff from Bucks fans that was just like, they're going to hate this guy. Like, he takes such bad shots at inopportune times. Like, they were talking about him the way people here would talk about Marcus when he would do stuff, even though I never understood the Marcus shots thing because he would make them. Like, he was pretty clutch last year in the playoffs. He was like 50% in the closing minutes, but that's neither here nor there. But they were like, yeah, like, just wait till the holiday threes start and he just starts firing them up. We haven't seen that. And not for nothing. We would want to see that. The man doesn't miss. He's shooting a career high from 3. He doesn't miss from the corner. He's taking the least shot he's taken since his rookie season. And he's playing hard on defense. He clearly does not care. He's just trying to win. He's been the ultimate addition for the Celtics. He's stepped up for them in spots where they needed him to step up when other guys either were sitting out on the bench resting or the team just doesn't have it. I mean, you can go back a couple days to the Denver game. Team is dead in the water, steps up, makes a couple of big shots. I think he had 8 points in the last 5 minutes of that game to bring it close and give the Celtics a chance to win. There have been other spots this year. I referenced the Kings game in Sacramento just because I wrote about this topic a little bit a while back around that time. He comes in the second quarter after De'Aaron Fox had a monster start to the game and the Celtics were behind and leads the second unit by himself in Cooks. Gets the Celtics a comfortable lead and it never turns back. he still has the capability to be an all-star level player, but he's bought into a role player role. And it's so helpful to a team that has so many mouths to feed that he's like, yeah, all right, whatever, dude. I'm here to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see the role that he's taken on. There was a few points, I think, earlier in the season where there was a little bit of DTM doing too much that we saw, where he'd like drive and he wouldn't kick and stuff. But it was like 3 games, and then he's gotten rid of it. And the corner 3-point shooting has been huge this season. I think he's one of the top 10 3-point shooters this season in terms of efficiency overall, too, which is like crazy considering what he was doing like in years past. Like, he's always been a solid 3-point shooter, but he was never, oh yeah, I'm gonna be, let's see, he is 5th in 3-point percentage this year among qualified players. Like, that's not what you expected from Jrue Holiday when you got him here. Everyone knew, yeah, he's probably a better 3-point shooter than Marcus, but like shooting 44.6%. This is the second time he's ever shot above 40% from 3, and he's shooting 44.6% on almost 5 attempts a game. It's insane. Like, that's
the Vince McMahon, just special.
I mean,
It's what you need from him.
Never getting looks like this at any point in his career.
Mm-hmm. It's huge. I was telling Sam this, Bobby. I saw it on Twitter somewhere. I think it was Jake Gitzenberg who tweeted it. Like, Celtics are the perfect retirement home for these players. Like, Al Horford, just come here, come shoot threes and play defense. Jrue Holiday, come here, come shoot threes and play defense. Like, that's all you got to do, brother. Like, come on in.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite. 35. It's a cross-sport analogy, but like people used to say for a long time that the Raiders are where players go to end their careers in a negative light. You just kind of fade out. And yeah, the Celtics, you look at Al Horford and Jrue Holiday as the prime examples, guys who have these roles that it really works for the age they are. Although Holiday has been the quarterback of the defense and flies around at that end. So it's not like he's just taking it easy and chilling at both ends.
He's just got a lawn chair out there on defense directing traffic, not actually doing anything. He's the guy just, all right, yep, everybody move around. I'll stay put. You guys got it.
Got the legs stretched out,
really good.
1 foot over the other.
Yep. He's like, yeah, exactly. He's doing stretches, making sure he's still loose. What an addition he's been.
He's been great. He's been great. Kevin Durant also talked about the Celtics. I know we talked about the Celtics before they played, said they had the best starting 5 in the league. But he also did talk about the strategy. He said they got a solid strategy over there. They might be playing a bad game early on, but over the course of the game, it'll come back around for them. I don't think this is exactly what Kevin Durant meant, but Sam and I talked about it too. The Suns also just play like the worst possible strategical game you could in the modern era. Like, all they take is mid-range shots. They don't take any threes. Like, they ended up taking 31 the other night, but I remember there's a box score from the playoffs last year where they were shooting like 70% from the field and losing by 10 to the Nuggets because they just took 0 threes. Like, you just can't win games like that. But I do understand what KD is saying in terms of strategy, because the Celtics just do what they like to do and it works. They full quote 39 threes. They get up 40 to 50 threes a night and stay home a lot on threes as well. You figure out where your shot is coming from. You just can't catch and shoot. They got a solid strategy over there. It's one of those strategies that they might be playing a bad game early on, but in the course of the game, it'll come back around for them. And I feel like that's Missoula ball, which people don't always like, but like in terms of the analytically sound way to play basketball in 2024, like that's what the Celtics do.
The team with the most talented top 6 bends the math in their favor. They're going to be really hard to beat. And consistently, when they're playing the right way, they're going to get quality in rhythm threes for good shooters, like a Jrue Holiday. So they're probably going in. So even if they start off, let's say, and they're not making them, like Kevin Durant said, at some point, the game's going to turn in their favor. And so the way they play with the talent they have, that's how you maximize it. And that's what makes them so tough to beat. And that's why they're now ahead of the rest of the standings and 1 win shy of 50 already.
See, I'm the worst guy ever because I saw the Durant quote and he was like, yeah, even if it's not going well, like to start, I'm like, well, how can you make it so it's going well to start no matter what? As I disconnect. It is asking a lot. Oh, no, I'm back. I'm back.
You stayed too. You never completely went out.
Oh, okay, I saw Jack freeze. I saw you freeze, and then the Wi-Fi thing popped up. So I was like, oh, no. It is windy out. So I have very low expectations for the internet today. But anyways, yeah, I saw it. And I was like, well, how can you just make it so you're always in control? And there aren't the low points. That was my take. But it is awesome that they do have like an automatic water finds its level thing. You just need to do a good job, which we already talked about, so we don't have to spend a ton of time, of making it so the empty quarter, empty results don't come down the stretch.
Yeah, you just gotta nullify the issues in the big moments because it's gonna happen. I mean, Joe Mazzulla's talked about it a million times. I say it all the time when you say they should go 82-0. Like, no one's perfect.
Sure.
You're not gonna it's not gonna happen. Like, stuff happens throughout the course of a season. You go through slumps. You go through periods of, your brain just turning off. Like, it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. Everyone's human, but you got to turn it up when it matters. Squad up coming in the chat to say Bucks fans aren't unbelievably ungrateful. He helps them win the chip and blame him for coming up short when Chris was hurt in 2022 and then Giannis is 2023. We love Jrue. Drew's a Bostonian now. He can come here and hang it anytime. He's here for as long as the Celtics are willing to pay him. Not my money. Please bring him back. So, last thing before we get into trivia, Celtics last night looking like they're going to be running the fellas. Perfect question, Michael. Who do you think has more shots, Pritchard or Banton?
Pritchard.
Jrue Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, all questionable. KP is officially out. So we could get a lot of Pritchard time, a lot of Tillman time, maybe a lot of Cornette, a lot of Hauser, a lot of bench unit guys. Banton has been playing phenomenal basketball lately. He's been killing it for them. The Blazers. Bobby, thoughts? Who do you think is going to step up for the Celtics? What do you think of Banton? All that stuff.
So one, I think we should all answer Michael's question. Two, it is a homecoming for Peyton Pritchard. We know that he's going to be getting him up. Maybe he's the right answer. He probably is, depending on how many people the Celtics ultimately decide to sit out tonight. But I wouldn't be surprised if Banton edges him out, if even just one. If Tatum's in the lineup, for example, then my money's on Banton. But if the whole starting five is out, for instance, Pritchard is going to be jacking like there's no tomorrow. He's going to be trying to do like he did in that the summer run where he scored whatever it was, 80, 95, whatever it was that he scored that game. So that'll be fun to watch, I suppose. And then, I look at who from the extended rotation are you most excited to see? And my answer really is Xavier Tillman. But I also feel legally obligated to go with O'Shea Brissett. So why not? I'll throw him out there.
Yeah.
For those curious, Jordan Walsh not on the trip, but J.D. Davison is. Who knows how crazy this game get in terms of who Joe Mazzulla taps into to give some time to if, again, the entire starting unit is sitting.
So, first and foremost, do we think it's in Pritchard's contract if they go to Portland while Portland sucks to be like, all right, listen, everybody can rest today. Pritchard's going out there to show out for all the fellas that he knows from his home state. Has to be. It feels like every time they go up there, he has at least some opportunity to go out and show, hey, I'm nasty at basketball. This is why I was Mr. Oregon basketball forever. Also, another take from this. I hate the Celtics. So what the Celtics are telling all of us is, hey, you idiots are going to stay up and watch us tip off at 10:30, and we're not going to play any of our guys, and you guys are still going to watch. Because that's what all three of us are going to have to deal with tonight as we load up the computer at what time does the game actually tip, Jack? 10:30 or 10?
10:30.
10:30 tonight.
10:30. So
and that's not to say it'll start on time either.
It probably won't. So as we load up the computer to do the pregame stream, we'll be sitting here talking about, oh, everyone's out. We're going to be up till 1:30 doing postgame, and we watch nobody play. But low-key, those are the most fun games to watch because you're like, oh, what about this guy? Is he going to be effective in the playoffs? So I'm just on here to complain. And they are absolutely wearing the wrong jerseys again, Michael. You're absolutely right. For the fourth time in 4 road games, they are wearing white on the road. It's time.
Gotta be a message to Sam.
It's time to have a
discussion.
discussion. It does feel like an attack, and I'm here to retort. The Celtics have lost consecutive games twice this season. Both times have both been on the road. And in both of those instances, they have worn white in both games on the road. Be for real, Celtics. If you want to earn my respect in the spring, you better come dressed to win. Plain and simple.
To answer Michael's question, I think Banton will probably end up getting more shots just because he's been taking like 30 a night. And I don't think pretty sure he'll get to 30. But I think it'll be a good game in terms of Pritchard getting a lot of shots up. Svi over under shot 13. if he plays, I think he'll have as many shots as he has minutes. I'll put it so whatever
That's
whatever
I
that
like
is, whatever that is. I think that's what he'll get because he gets in there and that dude, he is not afraid. All right, Bobby. Any final thoughts before we get to trivia?
We're ready for trivia.
Okay,
Chat is going away.
turn the chat off. Turn the comments off.
Comments are
Goodbye,
off.
chat. I love
So-
you.
I have
Much love, chat.
I have a question for you. Well, not a question. I know what the category is, but I a clarifier that I need to explain before we start. So, we're going to be doing, in the interest of keeping things fresh, keeping things not necessarily.
competitive.
What is this? Sam
You
starts
can say
winning. We move the
competitive. The new
goalposts.
format
Okay,
has not worked out well for me.
Bob, you fell into the Sam trap of yelling at me before I even say what I
both did
say.
it. We both
Yeah,
did it.
which is
I stand by
obscene.
it. No regrets.
In the interest of keeping things interesting, in the sense of we're not just naming players from the 60s and 70s, we're going to do 2010 forward for this category, is what Jack was going to say before he got screamed at.
Sam.
Hand up. Apologize.
No, high five.
Yeah, high five.
Losers.
Bo Ryan, high five.
So, and the clarification I need to make is this is no Marcus Smart allowed because it is one of those where he's too far ahead of everybody else. So it would be unfair. So I'm saying no Marcus Smart, line in the sand. I just want to put that out there now. We're going to be doing the most minutes off the bench for the Celtics since 2010.
Okay.
And so Marcus is, you know what I'm saying? It's just, he's a little bit too far where it'd be unfair. And so if whoever got him would have a significant advantage. Everyone past that, it's more fair. So no Marcus allowed. And since I've said the name, it's definitely not allowed.
Okay.
So trivia time. Sam gets to start here. Most minutes off the bench for the Celtics since 2010. Shout out StatMuse because that's where I'm getting it from.
I'll start with this might not be the best pick. I'm torn. I'm sorry. Give me a moment.
That's okay. I threw it at you. We'll filibuster a little bit.
I'm gonna
So,
guess. I'm gonna
for
guess Daniel
context-
Tice.
Okay. For context, I was just going to say I typed into StatMuse most minutes off bench in Celtics history since 2010, and this is what came up. So
Okay.
that is what we're rocking with. Daniel Tice.
That news. Very reliable.
See here. Here we go. First one's always weird because you don't know how well you
Ooh.
did.
You don't know.
That's
You
a
don't know
big
what the
figure.
relative.
Mm-hmm. Bobby,
Kelly
back to you.
Olynyk.
Kelly.
Good pick.
Alrighty.
It's definitely like the second one. He had a big grin. Yep.
Let's go. Yeah, that seemed like
There it
a
is.
positive smile.
Back to you, Sam.
I'm gonna guess Terry Rozier.
Alrighty. Terry Rozier is here. Bang. Right
We're
there.
back.
We're gonna need to filibuster right now.
That's okay. I'm checking the chat. No, Michael, stop. Joey, that is on the list. You guys aren't gonna see this. No, Jrue Welsh is not on the list, Michael. Michael,
Shout
stop.
out.
No,
Yuri,
Shavlik
by the way.
Randolph.
I'm pretty sure Yuri.
Yuri. Oh my God. Alan Ray.
Jerry
didn't even
Welsh.
play. Please stop, Michael. Stop, dear God. He's
This is
just
a good
typing.
question, Jack. I'm enjoying thinking about this. Just telling you,
Thank you.
giving you praise when it's due.
I didn't want to do this because if I just did ever, then it would just be like, oh, here's a bunch of 60s players, and that's lame.
Yeah, sure.
It's too early to be throwing out a bad guess. I just don't want to take forever and hold up the game. So can Jack guess? No, we can't play that game. But okay, it would be fun if you figured out where I was going right now when I said that it's too early to be using this name. Malcolm Brogdon.
I can't throw anything out there. Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Let's
It's
see.
not the worst guess. I had a similar thought in mind.
You guys are about even now. You're about on par with each other. So
Rozier was
Very-
a banger. That's who
very
I had
close
in
game.
mind.
Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, y'all hit the 1-2 right there. I mean, yeah, y'all hit the
Those-
1-2 bang bang.
Man, I'm gonna guess Pritchard.
Alrighty. Peyton Pritchard. Right there.
Not bad.
Big guess.
Tice was a bad first guess, huh?
He started a lot.
Yeah, that's what it was. I thought of it once I said it. I was like, well, he started in like the 2020 run. And,
Bubble season, yeah.
yeah.
Shemi Ojale.
Oh, that's a good guess by Bobby.
Shemi.
Maybe not.
Ojale.
No, Jack was ready. Yeah, good.
Right
There we go.
Yeah, good guess.
Needed
Huh.
that.
Trying to think of multiple season guys. We have 2 guesses apiece left since 2010.
I'll type this question in here for the Twitter people.
This might be a risky one. I'm gonna do Marquise Daniels. I feel he was on the team a whole lot then.
He got injured at one point.
Oh
Let's see
no,
what
that's
he can do.
terrible. And Jack's taking his time. This is bad for me.
I'm smiling because
Oh.
you and Joey Spatulas.
Oh.
I'm spelling it wrong though. I'm butchering it. Not a bad
Yeah.
guess. Not terrible.
It's more than I would have thought.
Joey liked it. Fire guess. Bobby, to you. You guys have me like trying not to smile when you guys guess now, which is like I'm trying to like suppress my reaction.
It's not even the smile. It's just like, is it taking Jack a long time? Yes or no? This is a fun one though. Like I feel like I should know more than
Jack
I did.
has come up with some fire questions.
Yeah, he has.
Trivia Jack has done exceptionally well.
I was just trying to I was scrambling to get it done during the show because I forgot to come up with I never come up with it before we start. I just like figure it out. I'm just like on the show while y'all are talking, searching stat muse for like, what can I do? Joey Spatula, yeah, that's a pretty good guess. That's actually it's on the list, but it's not towards the top. It's like top 20 ish.
When do you come up with these questions?
During the show.
Really?
Freak.
So this
I
one
was-
was come up during the last show?
No, as in the current show. While you guys were talking, I was on stat muse, like typing.
That's electric.
So
that's how you maximize.
I
time
started
right
with like I was gonna do free throws since 2010, but there was too big of a gap between like Tatum and Brown and other people. So like that wasn't really fair. So yeah, we wanted this.
I know that I'm leaving someone of value on the table that's just not coming to mind. But I will go with Brad Wanamaker.
Alrighty,
It's not a bad guess.
Mr. Brad.
I needed a 2 at the start of that number.
Mhm. There's still a chance.
Oh,
There's still a
man.
chance.
I have like a couple just sitting with me that I'm not really sure about. It's not fun.
Do you want me to calculate what you guys are both at right now? Or I'll do that after Sam guesses, so Bobby knows what he needs to win.
Huh.
Someone in the comments also mentioned that there's a literal like Excel sheet tool that would just calculate it for me. With all due respect, I'm not that smart. I can't. That's a pretty good guess, Michael. That is. I'll put it this way: it would not be the lowest on the board currently. So that's your context.
I am gonna.
Mhm.
Oh man, this is tough. Sorry, I'm taking my time. I'm like torn between 3 different people. I just don't want to make the wrong guess.
I'd ask you to speak out loud, but you don't want to give Bobby any ideas.
No. I'm gonna go with. Oh man, this is gonna suck if it's a low number. I'm gonna go with Rob.
Alrighty.
Oh,
That
no.
was in fact somebody guessed in the chat. I forget who. Joey, you and Joey on the same wavelength. Unfortunately, Sam, you did leave the door open.
Yeah, I did.
For Mr. Kravitsky
I'm
here.
over
Well,
the
let me do
chat.
some addition while Bobby thinks. But you did leave the door open. 2079 plus 476 plus 3.
I did think of. I thought of Michael's guess. Didn't want to do it.
Okay, so Sam finished with 14,257. Or Bobby. One sec. Okay, I need to get rid of the question. Bobby finished or has right now.
That's a decent guess, Joey.
Plus 1682. Bobby has 11,357.
Doesn't that mean I already lost?
Nope.
Really?
Yep. Minus 11,357.
Literally
Bobby needs-
2,900. Exactly.
Yeah, Bobby needs 2,900 on the dot.
Jack, how many players are there
Let me look.
that have over that?
2,900 or more. There is one.
All right, I feel a little better.
There's one player. There is one with 28, but I wouldn't get you. There's 28, 27, but there's only one with above 29 that'll get you there. Joey, that's a great guess. The last one. But it
Is that the answer, Jack? Or no?
No, it wouldn't get him there.
So curious.
Grant Williams.
Oh, it was Grant? Oh,
Yeah.
Let's
It was
go.
Grant.
that was a big fumble.
Not only was it a big fumble, it was a
Colossal.
huge. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Can't believe it.
We've been handed a lot of L's in this new format. We needed this.
Wow, that was big.
Nobody even said Grant in the chat either. That's the crazy
I know.
part.
I was gonna come on here and be like, "You guys disrespect my guy like that? Come on!"
Yeah, I can't believe
he was
that.
here for
I
like 3
feel
years.
So stupid. I'm
He was
with
here for a
Joey.
while. Grant Williams was
I'm
here
like,
for like.
I'm so mad.
Grant Williams was here for 4 years.
Jonas
Yeah.
Derebko, great guess.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Avery Bradley, Jack. Was that even close?
Bradley, no, he started too much.
That's what I thought. And then I also
started too
had
much.
who was the
Here you
last
go.
guy I had that was thinking
Michael
about?
Hilly, I did consider Jared Sullinger.
I did too.
Here's the list. Jarebko would have gotten you 28. Glenn, Big Baby, 27.
Big baby.
Evan Turner's up there. Sam Hauser, Jeff Green, Jaylen Brown is even on there over 2K because the
I'm
first couple
surprised by
years.
that.
I
I
didn't
know
know
that
he
it was tough in
I
the
didn't think he
beginning.
played that much.
Mm-hmm. Luke Cornett even 1,600 already. But yeah, there you go. Clutch guess by Bobby at the end. Tied the series 1-1.
I don't feel that bad. I'm upset that I missed Grant, but I'm like glad I'm not splitting hairs over the Rob guess because I wasn't sure. But like Bobby's guess was far and away like enough to give him it, even if I like earned like another like 600 or whatever. I'm not.
You would have needed.
I would have needed to guess like Big Baby or better.
Yeah. You would have needed Big Baby Jarebko or Evan Turner to get.
That was one of our best just because it ended on a buzzer beater, but I'm disappointed that neither one of us say I'm got Evan Turner.
I thought of Evan Turner, but I just thought of him as a starter. I was like, I don't really know how much he came off the bench, so I didn't want to fuck that. Oh, I messed that up. We all did one. We all did one. Did one.
Bobby caught his, I think. Bobby, you caught yours, right? I didn't mark it down.
swear.
That's the only reason I asked. Okay, yeah. Anyways, thank y'all for tuning in. Bobby, any final thoughts before you get out of here?
I think we hit on it all.
All right, perfect. 1-1 series and trivia. We'll be back next time. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics and check out Bobby's work at si.com/NBA/Celtics. That is the URL, right? Am I saying that correctly? There's the NBA in between that I always forget.
Yep, you nailed it.
Perfect. Thank y'all. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yes. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our full pods coming out Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Talkin' C's live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Fridays. And make sure you give Bobby a follow on Twitter at Bobby Kravitsky. You can find him putting in the work for SI Media for Inside the Celtics. He's there, boots on the ground, great source for all your Celtics news. You can also
send us an email, Joey.
Spotify
Shout
now.
out Joey Spatulas.
Shout out Joey Spatula always, even though I do not care for dogs.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care.
He's a loser.
Are you a cats person or neither?
No.
I like cats. I think dogs have too much energy.
You also, big part of why you dislike dogs is because everyone else likes dogs.
I don't like
clarify.
how much
Contrarian?
everybody else likes dogs, but I
He is
also
a
don't like
contrarian.
dogs from a
He's a
personal.
contrarian.
Like I'm not. I don't love dogs.
Personal, as in there was an incident.
There's no incident. I just think like they're like too aggressive. Like leave me alone.
That's a very
Cats will like
cat
come up
answer.
and like they'll like come up and like if they want to be bothered, like you stick your hand out and like they'll bump their head on your hand. It's like a fist bump, just like our chat fist bumps. Spotify, Apple, follow us there. 5-star review, please. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We are recording later today for tomorrow's pod. So if you want to get in on the fun, email us. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Facebook page is just the name of the podcast. Our streams are there and on YouTube and also on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at JackSimoneNBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.